we talk about hardware a lot. We talk about speakers, we talk about amplifiers, we talk about DACs, we talk about everything. So this video, forget all that. None of that is important. Let's talk about the music, what's good, what's bad, what the hell is the loudness war, and how you know what the hell you're listening to was absolute crap or not. I've got my Ultrabook here set up. I've blown the text up so you could see it. I've got a couple choice songs out. I'm going to discuss what the loudness war is, if you have no idea what it is. Back in the day, when people made songs, there's a range of how quiet and how loud things can get, and you would try to stay in the middle, so that when you're playing a song, if you're playing a properly recorded song, I want this to be available on mobile, so I'm not going to play real music. If you're playing a properly recorded song, it would be an average volume the entire length. And then anything that was loud, bongo, drum, cymbal, something that you wanted loud, can reach up and just peak. And then quiet bits of quiet. And what that allowed you to do is on your amplifier, let's say if your amplifier went from 0 to 10. Well, what you do is you'd put your amplifier on 5 or 6. Right? Halfway. This is a completely non-functional number. Just imagine it. So you put your amplifier halfway up, and you'd play the music, and now you'd have half of your amplifier's potential to play the loud bits. But what happened is everybody wanted their next album to be louder, because it's better. Louder is better. And if you take out your Pink Floyd and you put in your Jay-Z, and it sounds louder, because people are messed up in the brain, because their brains are coded funny, louder automatically sounds better. I could just take the same thing, change the volume on one, and say which one sounds better, and the louder one will probably sound better to you. Now, so what has happened over the last 20 plus years is shit's gotten so loud that this average here, where things are average and then you put your volume halfway, have been completely fucked over. Let me get to Muse, Map of the Problematic. And now you have this. And this is a brick wall. And what this means is everything's fucking loud all the fucking time. And so 5 on your thing, I mean, unless you're having a rockin' party, you're not going to run this at 5. You're going to turn that amp down to 3 or 2. Look at this song. And what that means is the loudest bits of this song are quieter than the loudest bits of a well-recorded song from before the loudness war. So it's actually, everyone's trying to make their shit louder. They're trying to control your volume knob. They want it to be louder on your shit. But you have the final say. You put a song on, and you go, oh god, it's too loud, and you lower it. And then that's as loud as it could ever get. Because that's always that loud. One of the best recorded albums of all time, Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. See what that looks like? You see the average on that? It's nothingness. And I'll explain the columns here. File name, that's fine. The album I have shrunk real small, doesn't matter. Bitrate, the replay gain of the album, the replay gain of the track, and the peak value. These are what I use to determine if what I'm listening to is crap or not. Peak value, let's talk about that one first. That's, we're looking at this graph, and the loudest part of the song, even if it's one bongo drum back here, that's what registers as a peak value. And that's what determines if a song is being used to its full potential. In other words, they've got a canvas to draw this song on at the recording studio when, Jay-Z sits down and Beyonce's there. How much do we want to fill this canvas? And if you are Muse or modern Deadmau5, it's a hell of a lot. You just edge to edge, if you're drawing a beautiful flower and you got this canvas and you just fucking go, what, to the edge, flower, and then you're left with this. And everyone puts their amp down and they can't really appreciate it. What you want is a flower drawn on the canvas with space around it so that the flower can look natural. That's a really gay analogy, and I apologize for coming out on camera. So let's go on to some other songs. Let's go on to well-recorded things. Here, I have two vocal tracks. I have Adieu from the Cowboy Bebop. And you can see it peaks. It does peak. It's pretty much only vocals and background piano. The peak value here is 0.96. Peak goes to 1. If the waveform, these waveforms touch the wall, that's 1.0. Now, that doesn't tell you if it's clipping. It just means that it has touched. Most of these, if you're looking down, these are the well-recorded ones, are at 0.96, 96, 999, 97. So they're using the canvas. Their picture of a flower is touching just real close to the edge. It's almost there and coming back. They've rescued it. Now, then we look at the average, the track gain average. And these come in positive and negative numbers. 0.00 is 89 decibels, which is, I believe, some sort of Red Book average for what the volume should be. Or at least what ReplayGain has always been set to in my mind. I know that's the number. And so this song, Adieu, this is what it requires to be 00. And it requires negative 3.5 decibels, which is such a minute amount, it's not even worth considering. But that's how far off from perfect this song is. 3.5 decibels. 3 decibels is the smallest increment of sound the human ear can detect a volume change in. So we're talking right on the nuts. That's fine. And we're close to peak. And we're looking at this, and everything looks fine. Now let's go down to Lana Del Rey's video games. A little bit more. You're getting a little more meat in there. She's hitting 0.999. And according to the ReplayGain, it has to go down to be perfect. The average would have to go down 8.5 decibels. Now, this system doesn't work for everything. Club and music, the genre of music can determine things too. If you just have a constant drone beat, don't worry about dynamic range. You're not going to get any. But vocals, singing, pianos, this matters. Whisper of a Thrill from Meet Joe Black. 0.97, so it gets real close to hot. These peaks here, the resolution's too low to tell, but those peaks there are definitely getting real close to the threshold. And this track actually requires a bump up to 0 of about 1.5 decibels. So again, real close, real well recorded. A couple of soundtrack things in here. The Demolition Man feat Sting, which is like it's the weirdest, gayest song ever. But 0.95, again, within range of the edge. It needs to come down only 3 decibels. It's perfect. David Chesky back again. Now, you don't know David Chesky. David Chesky puts out records that have no mixing at all. They don't compress anything. They put a microphone there, they record it, and they put it on CD, and they're done. Now, this song hits 1.00000, and the track gain is off by 0.03 decibels, which is 0 decibels. So here is what a perfect song should look like in waveform seek bar, which is what this add-on is. We're hovering, you can see on the peak meters, between -10 and -20 dB, and the loud bongo drums at some point are going to get up to and touch the peak meter because they're going to hit 0. And that sounds amazing. But now, you don't have to have just vocal jazz crap to say, oh, I have good recorded music. The first Deadmau5 album, which was called, for lack of a better name, if that was the first, or whatever the hell, one of the earlier ones, here's what that looks like. It's an average. Okay, let's go to Orca. And now let's go back to more ghosts and stuff. Orca, the loud-ass one, hits 0.9999, so he doesn't touch 1. And this one hits 0.95. So they're real close. But this one, the one that has a good average, only needs to come down 0.49 decibels to be perfect. And Orca has to come down 11.2. Anything, if you have this enabled, and I'll put it in the description how you enable this in foobar, because these are custom columns. Anything, I'm going to tentatively say over 8 decibels. That's my cutoff. If it's got to come down 8 decibels, meh. If it's got to come down 10 decibels, shit's too loud. And 11, 12, fucking Mapilla Problematic has to come down 12 decibels. And now we're going to move to the album column, which averages all the songs on an album. So you can sort of get like a rough estimate of how good an album is. Pink Floyd, Money, Dark Side of the Moon needs to come up 0.18 decibels. What the hell was the album? This was on Black Holes and Revelations of Muse. The entire album is 11 decibels too loud. 11 decibels. That's 3 times normal hearing able to hear that, nearly 4. So that's what happens when the recordings artists just either they don't give a shit, or the producers just step in and say, no, kids like it loud. Let's turn this shit up. I mean, where can I go? What can I show you? I don't know what else I could show you. I have so much stuff. HANA OST. Soundtracks. Let me explain why I like soundtracks so much, because I don't think I've gone into detail. When Jay-Z or Lady Gaga go into a recording studio and say, I want to make music, and they make music, and then they want to sell music, then they do all this fuckery to make it all loud. No, it sounds loud, it must be better. Well, it sounds great in the radio. That's why I don't like music, like actual music. It's very rare. I will find the David Chesky's and things. What I mostly download is soundtracks from movies and TV shows. And I'll tell you why. It's because they're not going to sell any albums. I mean, they'll have them for sale, but they're not cashing in. John Williams doesn't make his checks selling CDs on after fucking events. Okay. What's his name? The greatest composer of all time did Inception and all of them. Where is he? Inception 5.1. Oh, god damn it. What the hell's his name? Hans Zimmer. Thank you. Hans Zimmer doesn't live in that goddamn haunted mansion of a studio because he's selling CDs. The movie studios are handing him $1 million cash, and he's done. So he has no reason. The producers for movies have absolutely zero reason to fuck with it. It's going to be perfect. They're going to mix it into a $100 million motion picture. They don't want to be dealing with peaks and clipping and compression. They're just going to give, here's the best product I could possibly give, put it in a movie, and people are going to hear it in a movie, and then they're going to go out and they're going to buy Jay-Z, and it's going to be all total crap. But if you get a movie soundtrack, if you buy and download a movie soundtrack, something with music made for a movie, I guarantee you, look, this is the vinyl rip of the Inception. The replay gain on the album has to go up 0.78. That's ridiculous. Let's go. I have 3 copies of the Inception OST. 0.456 on the CD rip of the Inception album. So yeah, look at it. It gets loud. It touches. You can see it hits a line there. And it builds up and hits a line. And that's fine. You're allowed to get that close. As long as the entire track isn't expanded to the point of lunacy. Let's see, what else we got down here? Lego Movie. Lego Movie was an excellent movie, by the way. Everything is awesome. Put that on. Everything is awesome. Okay, I'm now deaf. But we're looking at an album average of -6, so it's got to come down a bit. Everything is Awesome is a -10. So this is the loudest track. But you got to keep in mind what it was. It was a pop track in a movie. It was designed to sound like the shitty pop music that everyone listens to. Hits 0.96, -10. Let's go to something else from the actual soundtrack. There you go. Nice, smooth. It peaks just where it has to. 0.96 again. Again, the peaks are nearly identical, obviously because multi-million-dollar studios mix this. And the average track gain on this is -6. So maybe you're not into soundtracks. Too bad. Muppet Movie. I have the original Muppet Movie score. -3 on the album. Every track is -3. And we hit 0.97, 0.95. That looks like that. Look at it. That is a healthy... We're talking about healthy and sick music is what we're talking about here. This is a healthy seek bar. This is what healthy music sounds like. That allows me to turn my amplifier up, and the quiet bits are audible, and the loud bits are loud. And when I put on something that is not any good, let me see what's not any good. Let's get to one of those real fast. Richard Cheese is pretty over-recorded. I have Red Hot Chili Peppers, but I have an actual good copy. Don't ask me for it. It doesn't exist. Wow, I don't have a lot of shit music. Here, Static X. Static X. I mean, I downloaded this because fucking I listened to it in high school. Every track. Let's go down. Like peaks 97, 98, 98, 81, 98, 98. So we're nearly peaking. Look at the average gain. You got to come down 12, come down 11, 10, 5, 12, 10, 11, 12, 9. Because it's Static X. So here's... And that's why that has to go down, because now I'm deaf. That's what it looks like. And let's go to their quietest track. Oh, it's just an intro. So the intro is actually pretty good. And the intro goes from that for whatever 22 seconds into ridiculous. Now if they had kept the whole album looking like that, I'd be able to put my amplifier up, and if they actually wanted it to be louder at any particular time, it could be. But since I'm physically limiting the volume capability with my amplifier, they're shit out of luck. These artists are literally just telling you, don't listen to my shit. You have to turn it up so loud that you literally go deaf, and then there's still no dynamic range. Because the quietest bits, the whispers, to the loudest drum beats, that's the range of the song. And it has shrunk so small that the quietest bits are like, ah! And the loudest bits are like, ah! That's it. That's all you get. You're getting from ah to ah! And that's it. Sublime. Sublime's excellent. I know I get pulled off of, there. Yes, it's full, it's blocky, but there's gaps. It takes a breather. It's only 8.86 decibels too loud. It's too loud, but, you know, it isn't a constant brick wall. And the next track is, you know, whatever the hell that is. That might actually just be an interview or something. I don't know enough about Sublime. Tchaikovsky. Oh, let me go back to this. The very first track I have on here is the 1812 Overture. This is a perfect example of what certain types... I can't push this on every genre of music. That would be ridiculous. But look how small we're looking at down here. We're talking about almost non-existent on this graph. The track is off by 0.38, and the peak is 0.96. So what that means is, as I'm playing this, and it'll play, it's quiet. Turn the amp up. It's nice and quiet. And then, the reason it's nice and quiet is so later on the track, when the fucking cannons play, the cannons are cannon volume. I watch TV shows, like most people do, and the one thing that bothers me is when gunshots are quiet. Go to a gun range. Just visit any one of them. And have someone talk, then have someone fire a goddamn revolver next to you. What the hell? We watched an anime. My friend watched an anime with me, and it was the loudest gunfire ever in an anime. Was it Bacano? It might have been Bacano is what it was. Because it's like they're talking, and you have your volume up, because people are talking, and it's quiet, and then all of a sudden, fucking Tommy gun, and you're like, oh my god, and that's exactly what it should be. You should be scared, and frightened like a child from the sound of gunfire. And most movies and shows just don't do it. They don't do gunfire right. Gunfire is like, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba, we gotta get him, Tommy, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. No. Dynamic range in a movie, dynamic range in music, it's all the same. It's the average of the quietest and the peak of the highest. And it has to be, the bigger the range, the more your neighbors will get upset because you're playing your movies way too loud. That's what people always complain about. Oh, I can't hear the dialogue, then I put up when it's too loud. Well, that's the correct way to do it. It's a simulation. Movies are a simulation. Music is a simulation. If it's not, if a tuba plays in your house and someone sings in your house, they should sound the same as if you play back someone singing or playing a tuba. Now, you don't get to choose that the tuba's much quieter because they don't like tubas. They want to hear just the vocals. That's retarded. So But I would be listening through this entire thing, and it gets louder and quieter. So I'm not going to touch the volume. It's just always going to be at 5, at our mythical 5. You never want to take anything out to 10. That's why I said 5. I could just complain and talk and bitch forever. Jet Set Radio Future. This has loud music. We're looking at 9s, 8s, 9s. But look at the peaks. 85, 89, 76. So that's another sign of bad. So yeah, it's got to come down 9, but it doesn't even reach the full potential. It's not using the whole canvas. There's 2 inches of white around the outside of the canvas. And then it's too loud. So there's a big square of a flower in the middle of it. So see? Yeah, there's breathing room, but it's just, I'm trying to imagine how to describe this. There's the walls, and then there's the average distance from the walls. So the peak distance from the walls, 76. And then you got the other thing that's pushing the average way the hell out there. So you only got like that much dynamic range again, where nothing here is getting quieter. It takes a little while to get used to understanding what the hell I'm talking about. But this is how I have my stuff laid out. Obviously there's more columns than text is smaller usually, but yeah. These are what I look at when I download something. Actually, here, hold on. I'll one of my favorite things to do. Here's all my music. We're going to sort by peak. So now everything here at the beginning of this list, 0.38, 0.38, 0.38, 0.38. All these are too quiet. Sneakers OST. You know the movie Robert Redford? River Phoenix? Look at that. This is one of the very few examples of a soundtrack that is so under-recorded, it's almost useless. Because now I got to turn my amp up to 9. Just to hear it. Just to hear this thing. And then you get that hissing. So under-recorded is bad. It needs a plus 12.9. So 0 is perfect. Plus 8 is right at the limit of acceptable. Plus 12 is garbage. This shit is down here. It's so quiet it's almost inaudible. Hopefully you don't find many of those. Doors, Touch Me With Dialogue, some Mozart. You also have to keep in mind, if a song is meant to be quiet, if it's meant to be quieter than everything else, then it's going to have a low peak. It's going to have a low track gain. It's just going to be low. But most music averages out and tries to get to that sweet, sweet butter zone. Let's hit page down. 40, 50, 60. So here. Let's see how far down my list we are. That's what? An eighth, a quarter. Let me get to a quarter of my list. Alright, there we go. That's about a quarter of my list. And we're at 0.88. Aladdin OST, Berserk OST, They Live OST, The Beatles, Lady Madonna. Fuck! Okay. So, 0.88. Our peaks are coming up. We're going from... Actually, there's a Muse track here, but I'm sure it's just an intro, because there's no way... Unless Muse... No, they did it right. It's alright, that Muse track. But again, it's that same thing. We got the gap, and we've got the average, and it's too small. Because this is a -9 and a 0.88. These other 0.88s, we're looking at bring it up a half a decibel, bring it down 4, bring it up half, bring it down 7. So, it's 2 sliding scales that we're trying to look at to say what's the average and what's the loudest it gets. And if the loudest it gets is low and the average is still way too loud, then it's just those things are it's never getting quieter and it's only getting a little bit louder. It's just rattling around on that millimeter thin wall of way too goddamn loud. YouTube vinyls. Let's get out of the 80s and let's get near the top. Now that we know that we get near 90 peaks. There you go. It jumps immediately to like 95. And we're halfway down my list. So every track from here down is 97 or greater as far as peak values. 28 weeks later, Billy Joel, Weezer, 9 Inch Nails. And we're looking at track gains, -9 on Weezer, because Weezer actually doesn't do that great a recording job. 9 Inch Nails is okay, 6s, 4s. Chemical Brothers, this is -8.
It began in Africa.
And even though that's full, and you're looking at it and saying that's full, it's a 878. It's a negative 878 because there's breathing room between the track. It's loud because it's Chemical Brothers, but it isn't stupid. Let's go down to the very bottom. Where's end? I'm hitting the end. MP3s, for some reason, by the way, also register above 1 in peak. And I do have a few community MP3s on here, so we'll get up till we hit to 1. Here's ones. These are one. Oh, U2. What the hell is wrong with U2? I don't even. Did I get a greatest hits or something? I might have gotten a greatest hits, which are synonymous with them taking good tracks and saying, no, we got to bring these out louder because now is louder, and they just screw them up here. I mean, that's not bad. It's peaking at 1 and it needs to go down 9. But this one, that one's peaking at 1 and needs to go down 10.5, and it's U2 again. So that's not a big enough for U2 for a really quality band like that. They should not be screwing shit up. Peaking at 1s, we're looking at 4s, 3s, 9s, 8s. Here's some 10s. Rob Zombie. You know, if you're going for Rob Zombie for dynamic range, you're doing it wrong. But you're noticing a trend. Now that I've sorted by peak, everything up here in the 1s is just... Well, here's the thing. It can be good. Let's sort by track gain. Let's sort by track gain. Now we're really going to get into the heart of the meat of this. Loudest song I have is a Sign Sweep. Let's not go with that one. The loudest song is Marilyn Manson's My Monkey, which needs a negative 15 decibel volume adjustment. Negative 15 decibels. You know what negative 15 decibels is? That's like 5 times the legal limit of you hearing it, and it peaks. So I'm going to lower this. And that is a solid brick wall. It's a little quiet there, then there. There's nothing in there. Phantom Planet, Big Brat. Phantom Planet, I love this song. And look at it. Just look at the hyper garbage. Only 0.98, but a 13.9 decibel downgrade it needs. Oh, by the way, let's talk about the bitrate column for a quick second. You can usually determine how... CD bitrate is 1411, 1411. And FLAC, when it compresses a song, the less information, the less crazy a song is, the lower the bitrate, because it can get lower. This song is so crazy, and so much information, and so much shit going on, and so loud, that the bitrate is at 1149. That might be one of the highest bitrate songs I have, because it's just... It's just constant, forever loud volume. Let's go up. FLC LOSC, why is that so fucked up? My god. I may have to re-download that. That looks like crap. Bass Nectar, again. Queens of the Stone Age. Brick Wall. Page up, let's go. Korn. Not bad here, then Brick Wall. We're at negative 12, we need to go down. So let's zoom up until we get to like the happy bit. I'm gonna read you some names. So Weezer, White Zombie, Richard Cheese, Audio Slave, Perfect Circle, Chemical Romance, Juno Reactor. We're loud. We're in loud music territory. More Weezer, Marilyn Manson. We're still at 9 dB, 8 dB. We got Alt J, Neo Tokyo soundtrack, some Mystical. Wait, where's Mystical? Breathing room between the peaks. So yes, it does touch. Now imagine if you could just take this and stretch it and give that a little more room. You'd have that. If this was averaged down, then those bass hits could actually be louder and you could raise your amp some more. Again, I think 8, 9 is about my limit where I stop complaining once you're under that. But there are those 10 and above that I just want to punch people in the face. So we're getting down here. Lana Del Rey's showing up. Fatboy Slim, some crazy Japanese taiko drum stuff. 0.99 needs to come down 7, but you know, this stuff is, you know, no one's complaining about that. From here down, no one's complaining. I'm not complaining. Gorillaz, Depeche Mode, Fat John. 0.93 peak, We're looking at a negative 6.9. It's perfect. It's perfectly fine. Perfectly acceptable. So genre has a lot to do with this. Type of music. Thrash metal, you're not going to find well-recorded thrash metal. You just won't. You won't. You won't find anything. It never gets quiet. If music never gets quiet, there can be no dynamic range. It can only be crazy bullshit. 28 Days Later, Dio, Doors, Rose McGowan, The Spinners, 12 Days of Christmas. It's a beautiful waveform. Down 4.5, 0.98 peak. Hope I'm not just talking into a camera that's not pointing at this. It should be good. Twist my head a little bit. There we go. Should have checked that before. My bad. Dexter soundtrack. Dexter ended horribly. Don't watch Dexter if your friends say, hey, let's watch Dexter. Don't do it. But the soundtrack was amazing. Everything was recorded well. We're at now in the track gain sort. We're about a little bit past halfway on my list. We're down to 347. Everything above this is just so close to perfect. It's not even funny. Cake, Gungrave, They Live, Lou Reed's The Gun. Look how nicely that's. Put that up now. I'm in the safe zone. If I played just this bit, the stuff in this range, I'd have no qualms leaving my amplifier up quite a bit and just letting, if a loud bit happens, I know it's a quality loud bit. Whereas down there in the bad section of town, where 10 plus tracks are existing, I can't do it. I can't trust it. Yeah, definitely not playing enough music to get blocked. Halo OST, even the Halo OST's down here. Brave Little Toaster, Pulp Fiction, Rooftop Singers. Yes, this is what you're looking for. This is my obsessive setup. What kind of music you like? People would ask me, and I would tell them very simply to their face. Now that I'm aware of it, well-recorded music. There is no genre that I give a shit. Like, oh, gangster rap, I'll listen to that. I'll listen to the shit out of gangster rap if it's well-recorded. Whatever that is. Like weird, like, church organs. I'll listen to it. I'll listen to anything you got. As long as it's well-recorded. God, that's loud country. I'll even listen to outlaw country. Outlaw country. Woo! Pink Floyd again's down here. It's all good down this part of my list. I recommend get your foobars going. Install a seek bar, waveform seek bar. I'll show you how to set these up. I'll give you little instructions. You gotta right click. You right click here. Fuck you, Ultrabook, for not having proper buttons. You go to columns. You go to more. Can you see how you put the pattern in? It's parenthesis. I'm saying parenthesis. It's percentage sign. Replay gain, one word, underscore album, underscore gain, percentage sign. And the same is for track and track peak, track underscore peak. And I actually have a sort by date modified column, which is interesting because my new music can stay on top. And those will allow you to add these columns when you get back. You hit OK, you right click over here. Columns, and you can pick from down here. Replay gain, album, track, peak. Label them as you please. And you will have a new view of your music. This is all about viewing your music in a light that you know what songs you like, and you know what songs you like. Well, what songs are the best recorded? And now you can sort by them. I'm sorted by it, by the best songs. Actually, I just sorted by bitrate. So if we go up, let's go to the home. These are the lowest bitrate songs. Actually, I can't tell if those are MP3 or not because it doesn't say. Alright, we're above 320, so I know it's not. 376. 376 kilobits. It's just above 320 MP3 size. We're 0.7 away from perfect. We only peak at 0.73 because it's obviously a quiet song. But listen to how simple it is. Simplicity means smaller. You want to save space with your music? Download simple songs. As soon as you get it, like here, hidden tracks, Marilyn Manson. We're in the 500s. Here's 500. There's something happening, but it's, you know, simple stuff. Nearly nothing, and then stuff. You get down to the end. I keep doing that. That's complicated shit. Higher bitrate, higher everything, more space, more waste. Don't like it. I'm getting really exhausted from trying to explain this. Maybe I'll try again. Maybe this is take one. Maybe. Buy a goddamn boombox. I got 2 sitting here for sale. That one comes apart. That one's got the Velcro and the extendable wires, and that one is just a solid block of sound. It's super simple. That one's like $40 cheaper. It's less parts used and easier for me to make. If you'd like one of these, message me. I don't know the price yet. I haven't checked. I'll check later.